not only do you not see 1 versus 8 just cuz, you don't see one say, let me put it on the line against number 8, because this automatically propels Korean Zombie to a title shot if he wins.
This fight right here is strictly for fun, strictly to have that end cap on your career, that you went out like an absolute G and really are down to fight whoever, whenever.
Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
The Korean Zombie takes his last run at gold, at triumph, at something. He's taking on the Blessed Express, Max Holloway, former featherweight champion, former GOAT of the division, but that's another story, folks. Breaking it down with me, as always, is my co-host, the Santa Fe Bomber, the New Mexico native himself, the man currently in the leaderboard, 88, 57, and 2 on the year. AJ, how you feeling, bro?
Brother, I am doing very well. I am feeling very well. And Derick, to add on to what you said, only thing better than that sweet taste of gold is taking down the Blessed Express. But let's see if the Korean Zombie can actually get it done, brother. I'm excited for this week of fights, man. We have some unknowns, but some absolute heaters coming up on this card. How you feeling, brother?
I am feeling good. I'm feeling good, but I'm also feeling a little confused. And the reason I'm feeling confused is because when do you ever see the number 1 contender versus the number 8 guy? For no reason, just cause, like, just why not? Let's fight, you know what I mean? And that's why you gotta love this matchup here. Listen, when it comes down to it, the Korean Zombie, man, he's lost to Alexander Volkanovski, Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez, Jose Aldo in the last 10 scraps. Those are not bad people to lose to. You take on Max Holloway as a going away bout, retirement bout, whatever you want to call it, that last run. At this point, AJ, in a sentence or two, what do you think is going through the mind of the Korean Zombie? Is that the definition of a warrior? You take on the best just cuz?
Bushido, brother. That's what's going through the Korean Zombie's mind right now. Honor, respect, and just the love of the fight game. You gotta respect it, man. Because like you said, you listed off an absolute hit list, a killer's row.
That's right.
And Korean Zombie's gonna take on the Blessed Express, brother. Absolute credit to him, man. This was a storied career. I'm excited to see this fight. I think we're gonna see a lot of blood, a lot of violence. It's gonna be a very fun Saturday morning. Gotta tune in early.
That's right, folks. And programming note, this weekend, set your alarms. 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the main card, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard. This one is for the hardcores for sure, going down UFC Singapore. You already know what time it is. All right, folks, without missing any other words, let's jump straight into a TLDR. AJ, when I bring this up on screen right now, man, you got to let the people know. We're only bringing it up for a few seconds. So there it is right there. AJ, tell the people it's coming down in just a few. They got to take their screenshots, right?
Yes, sir, Derick. You got to hit these screenshots right now, folks, because they're going down. They're gone already, like that. You better go back, press that button a couple times, rewind if you have to, because we're not showing them again. But if you noticed, if you caught on, there's some movement and shaking that's going to be happening to those numbers down below. This competition is in full swing, and we're bringing money to you either side you're picking on. This one's going to be a fun week, Derick.
That's right. And once again, this is the incentive. If you wanted to run away with the picks and just go to the sports book and do your thing and click off the video, I recommend you don't do that. But if you can, do it. Go ahead. That's fine. If you want to know the means behind the madness, the reasoning for all of this, stick around. We have a bunch that we need to cover here today. There is one thing though, because we value you guys and because we want to give you something that you can go home and put a little extra cash in your pocket for an accountability test. AJ, this is the UFC Singapore prop locks. This is something I do want to keep up for just one moment. Max Holloway, decision plus 180. AJ, that is almost death taxes. Chikadze, no. Max Holloway, decision. Am I right?
You couldn't have said it any better, Derick. Just like taxes, just like Chikadze. But I'm interested in the prop luck you have on your side, man. Parker Porter by decision.
Yes,
this
sir.
is going to be a fun one, facing off against Junior Tafa in a new weight class, brother. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Plus 450. Folks, cash it in. Just know we've spent some meticulous time behind the scenes going over some of these props, some of the plays that we like the best. And guess what? After this weekend, we get held accountable for it. So if we won, thank me later. If we lost, all right, well, we'll hit the drawing board next time. But we don't lose here on the Bloody Water Podcast. This is your favorite fighter's favorite fight show. And AJ, man, just give the people a quick run before we jump into the main card and all of the fun stuff that we're about to break down. One thing that I definitely need us to do is I need to just touch on, bro. Why should they subscribe? What do we have going on behind the scenes and all of that good stuff, man? And what is it that the Bloody Water Podcast makes special?
I'll answer the first question, folks. Why should you subscribe? Because we're winning you money each and every single week. You go to those pages that are, doing it every sporadically. Maybe they hit the UFC pay-per-view events. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Excuse my French, but we do right here. And there's reason being is because we hold ourselves accountable to a higher standard to make you all some money. So let us know in the comments when you are doing so, because I know you are. You're hitting me up on Instagram. You're hitting me up at the bars, wherever we see each other, and you're letting me know, man, thank you for those picks. Put it down in the comment section because we know a lot of you are doing it. Now, what you can expect behind the scenes, you're over here, right, already on the Bloody Water podcast, but Derick has his own Instagram as well as a Twitter that he's very active on, and as well as me, man, I'm on Santa Fe Bomber across all platforms. You get a little look on the inside back of our lives, man, what we do on a day-to-day, what makes us people, what makes us tick, but really, what the inside mind is thinking about the fight game. And really the best part, folks, you get to have a little join in on yourself. You get a little have an action on the side. Nothing better than that. And I mean, what can I say else besides your favorite fighter's favorite fight show? There's a reason, because we are doing it in and out constantly. We even have fighters that are saying, man, commenting, hey, man, this is a hell of a video. Thank you so much for putting it out. And if you are one of those fighters, make sure you're dropping the comments, clicking the subscribe, and sharing it to your friends. Not a bad friend in this group, because we're all winning money every single week for you fine folks.
And with that being said, we don't need to mince any more words. You heard the man. Let's talk about some fights, baby. Let's get it.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
The Blessed Express. He has nothing to prove at this point. The only thing that's stopping him from gold is the guy at the top, Alexander Volkanovski. That's neither here nor there. We take on legends for fun on the other side of the spectrum, right? This is an interesting matchup, AJ, and we have to say, we'll repeat it again. Number 1 versus number 8. Reasoning-wise, for like competition reasonings, it's not quite there. And when you saw what Alexander Volkanovski just did to the Korean Zombie, it might make you a little concerned for what Max Holloway is about to do. My question to you is, we have been seeing a little bit of D1 Korean Zombie recently in terms of the wrestling credentials. Does he try to take this fight to the mat against the Blessed Express?
I don't think so, Derick. I think this fight right here is strictly for fun, strictly to have that end cap on your career, that you went out like an absolute G and really are down to fight whoever, whenever, and make yourself the storied character of your own story. Man, this one is seriously just for the Korean Zombie to go out there and have a lot of fun. Yes, could he be the D1 wrestler? Yes, he can. Could he go out there and make this his style of fight that's most winnable for him? Yeah, 100%. But I think he's doing this one for the fans, man. The Korean Zombie's been doing it for... I don't even know how long on my notes, at least 2011, bro. This dude has been doing, like I said, a storied career. Do you think he's going to go into D1, or are we going to see that just kind of brawl style the Korean Zombie likes to do, walk forward and throw some hands? What do you think?
I think it depends, man. Is this the last fight? Because there's no like solidification for that. There's kind of alludes to that, but it's nothing set in stone. And you know how MMA retirements go. But I think that if this lives up to be the matchup we think it is, this is going to be very reminiscent to a fight that actually just took place. So if you're watching this right now, you should have tuned in. But AJ, I don't know if you was tuned into the PFL last night. Clay Collard, Shane Burgos, instant classic, fight of the year contender right there, because they sat in the pocket and they swung them. And that was it, man. It was Clay Collard not checking calf kicks, and it was Shane Burgos not putting his hands up for the headshot. So the point is here, we could see record numbers in terms of volume for Max Holloway. The thing that does concern me is that the Korean Zombie, man, he's a power guy, right? We're not going to see as much volume. Can he crack the chin of the indomitable Max Holloway?
Ooh, that's a hell of a mountain to crack, Derick. At least looking right now. When's the last time we've seen Max Holloway TKO'd? Back in 2018, brother. A long time ago. And no, I'm sorry about that. He won that fight by TKO by Brian Ortega. No, it's been even longer than that he went over.
You haven't, AJ. He's never been knocked down. Max Holloway's a different breed.
An absolute different breed, the fighting pride of Hawaii right now, man, the Blessed Express. There's a reason he kind of has maintained that air of the GOAT, even though he's not the champion. I don't think we're going to see the Korean Zombie crack that puzzle, but you're right, Derick. He held absolute power, bombs in those hands. Do you think he has the KO power to actually get it done? And second question to you, Derick, do you think he has the technique to be able to find himself in those situations, or is he just going to put himself in a brawl to find himself those situations?
Listen, man, I think anybody can get caught at any moment. Do I think he has the capacities to do so? Yes. Do I think it would have happened? I just think it's a long shot, man. I think it's a fairy tale, and I think that when you find yourself in a matchup like this, you root for the underdog. Underdog is clearly the Korean Zombie at plus 550, and for that reason, man, I think that this should be a surgical pursuit for Max Holloway, given he does approach it as in, I'm going to come and I'm going to do what I do best, and that's box your face off. If he comes in and says, I'm going to have a war just cuz, Look at that fight he had against Ricardo Lamas when he said, right here, let's go, and they swing him. You could have got caught. You could have got knocked out, but he didn't. We'll see if it happens this go around. The thing that's interesting to me here, AJ, is we need to talk about your prop lock of the night. Prop lock of the night for you was a decision. Now, at open, it was plus 165. For you, you locked it out, what, 185, something like that?
Plus 180, if I'm not mistaken, Derek.
Okay.
Yeah, folks, there's some serious value right there because of the indomitable will and chin of Max Holloway, as well as that goes for Korean Zombie. This dude has an iron chin as well, man. I think this one's going to a decision, and that's why I see a lot of value right there. Prop lock it in, folks. Go win some money this weekend, and let's get it going.
Now, I will say 4 of Max Holloway's last victories have been decision victories. But, AJ, I just want to push back really quickly before we move on. Of all the matchups that he's had as of late, this is the one matchup where I can see Max Holloway getting a finish. Chan Sung Jung got TKO'd against Alexander Volkanovski in round 4. Volkanovski, while having massive power, clearly the best in the division, Max Holloway is just a little bit different in terms of being a volume striker and being able to just have that wear and tear on you to where you cannot compete any further. Is there any pause in the back of your mind that does think Max Holloway can legitimately get the Korean Zombie out of there?
There was, Derek, especially at that minus 150 open TKO prop. There was a little bit of hesitation going in there, but to be honest with you, man, I just see this being one of those old school blood and guts, knockdown, drag out style of fights that's going to end in a 5th round decision, but there will be blood all over the floor.
Okay, fair enough. Folks, I will say this. Max Holloway is a man that you need to absolutely respect because not only do you not see 1 versus 8 just because, you don't see one say, let me put it on the line against number 8 because this automatically propels Korean Zombie to a title shot if he wins. That's the implications. This is literally a lose-lose for Holloway. If you win, well, you were supposed to. You better win in impressive fashion. If you lose, not looking good. Either way, with that being said, that is your main event. Max Holloway. I guess we should have said it because I didn't particularly say it. I like Max Holloway here too, clearly, right? Come, what are we talking about? So, all right. Give me the decision too. I think that's fair. All right, man. Let's move on to this co-main event. We have a rematch. Lionheart Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann. Now, AJ, I've been hearing a lot of rumblings recently for this matchup, specifically talking about Anthony Smith, easy money, cash it. He destroyed Ryan Spann in the last fight, and he's just going to do it again. This is the easiest money I could ever make. And this is one where I do have to push back, because while I'm a big fan of Anthony Smith and Ryan Spann, as you've seen, I've been very high on Spann as of late, I just think both fighters have taken different career trajectories as of late. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%, Derek. Folks, if you're thinking this is an absolute lock for Anthony Smith, yeah, he's a Lionheart. Yeah, we've seen him do up and down in his last couple fights, and there's the reason exactly for that, folks. Ryan Spann is a new animal as well. This dude is on an absolute killer's row, especially after that Anthony Smith loss, man. He looked good against Jan Kuchelava. He looked good against Dominic Reyes, even in the submission loss against Nikita Krylov. This guy is fighting his heart out. Spann is a warrior. I think he's going to give Anthony Smith a lot of trouble in there, especially in the stand-up in the range. Do you see the stand-up in the range kind of causing a lot of problems too, Derek, or you think this one's going to be a washing machine fight?
Best path to victory for Ryan Spann in this matchup specifically is to keep the fight on the feet, standing for as long as he possibly can. This is the problem that I see with Ryan Spann, and it's not a bad one. I think it's based on his career, man. He's got 15 first-round finishes. So when you have a finisher mindset, you're taking risks that some other people just simply wouldn't. For an example, the last fight against Nikita Krylov, right? It was a close fight. It was a back-and-forth fight. Ryan Spann, what does he love to do? The patented front choke, guillotines, all of the stuff that he likes to jump for, right? So when he found himself in that mix-em-up against Nikita Krylov, incredibly dangerous grappler, and there was those openings to just stand back up, disengage, and get back to basics, he instead said, I will re-engage and I will beat you at your own game. That's the problem when you're a dangerous striker who also has legit grappling chops. So in my opinion, if he can avoid grappling unnecessarily against Anthony Smith and maybe don't jump for as many front chokes, I think that this can be pretty easy work for Ryan Spann, given my question to you next. Don't you think that if Ryan Spann kind of took the Johnny Walker approach, he'd be much more successful? Like Johnny Walker, the patient Johnny Walker, where he just stands in the center and is just like, if you want it, you got to come on over here and catch this power. What do you think?
Could he be more successful doing that, Derek? 100%. This dude has the speed, the power, and the range to be able to get that done. Now that only begs the question, will he do that, man? Will he do that? As a bettor, does it give you any pause, a little hesitancy to know that, especially in that last fight against Nikita Krylov, when he had the opportunity to stand up, when he had the opportunity to put the fight back in his ball court, He chose not to. He chose to beat Krylov at his own game. I kind of see the same similarities in this fight with Anthony Smith, man. You get Anthony Smith in a tussle-up, he's going to find the more advantageous positions. Ryan Spann has had a history of not necessarily doing that. Do you think it's possible he will?
I think it's possible, but once again, that's not the question that you're asking. You're really asking, will he? And I think that legitimately, man, the reason that I have more confidence that he will fight smarter is because you've already lost to Anthony Smith. So you already know the feeling of like, all right, I went there. Now, could he take the approach of I'm going to double down and I'm really going to beat you at your game and embarrass you and all that? I hope not, especially because it wasn't just until a couple of fights ago where he said, what? Oh, yeah, I actually train now, by the way. I wasn't really training before. You know what I mean? So it's like, for this MMA, Ryan Spann training, I like that all day long. And I do think that Anthony Smith, man, in all honesty, fantastic career run. But the last two losses to Ankalaev and to Johnny Walker have been pretty rough, man. And we've seen just kind of how debilitating those leg kicks can be. So I imagine Spann will probably try to target it a little bit. This is a fight right here, man. I do not hate Ryan Spann at -145. I actually think those are some pretty valuable odds, given that Smith normally would be a favorite since he won the last fight. Give me Ryan Spann, bro. And I actually do like that plus 190 TKO prop right there, man. I think that he'll be able to get it done. I think if he can keep the fight standing, I think he catches Anthony Smith. That's my opinion. What do you think?
I like your take, Derek, especially because in all open and honesty, folks, transparency over here, this is a very close fight, man. I had a lot of hard time deciding who I was going to be picking because Ryan Spann is that new type of animal. Hopefully he doesn't fall into his old ways, like you said, trying to beat Anthony Smith in his own game. I actually like Anthony Smith in this fight, though, man. He did have a rough time. He has been on kind of a skid, but with the lion heart, man, with the dog he is, he's going to show up and fight. And having that little bit of air of confidence, knowing I wrecked this dude in our last fight, hopefully that ego doesn't go to his head and he's able to put the work on the mat. Give me Anthony Smith. Give me the submission, plus 375.
Imagine it happens again. But you'd be like, this dude submitted me twice? Oh, my gosh. All right, that is your co-main event, folks. Moving right down along. The Giga Show has returned. AJ, sound the alarms. Giga Chikadze is back. He's not just back, but they gave him a fighter who I think is much more in a manageable range of guys that maybe he should have been fighting, because he went from Jamie Simmons, which was a short notice fight, right? Omar Morales, Erwin Rivera, immediate jump to Cub Swanson, then Edson Barbosa, Calvin Kattar, right? It was like a massive jump. We take a step back here against Bruce Leroy, but this is the problem here, AJ, is this is almost a trap game right here. You gave him the wrong guy. Alex Caceres is a guy who can pull upset on any of these guys. Oh, and by the way, he's on a nice little run himself, last couple of wins. If you're thinking about it, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Won 7 of his last 8, or to be more specific, 8 of his last 10. Let's talk about Alex Caceres before Giga, because clearly he's the star of the show right here. This dude has never really gotten his due. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%, Derek. Yeah, absolutely. One of the most undiscovered and unrepresented fighters in the era. But if you like striking, folks, you better tune in.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, man. When people are talking about this matchup, are they talking about striking? For Alex Caceres' path to victory, all I'm hearing is, oh, well, he's just going to take Giga Chikadze down and choke him out. And I do think Caceres has the grappling chops to be able to control Giga. I also think that people I think that they discount the grappling abilities of Chikadze, right? Now, you have to be a very special individual to be able to control Giga, because you have to be able to do it on the feet and on the ground. When Calvin Kattar did it, he has the perfect style to stay in your face for 25 minutes and just put a pace on you. Can Alex Caceres do that? Does he have the style to put a pace on for 15 straight minutes, no steps backwards?
15 minutes, yes, Derek. The 25 that you're talking about with the Calvin Kattar in that 5-round fight, I don't think so. We haven't seen it yet, so I wouldn't put my money on that one. But for 15 minutes, yes, especially if we see a tactful fight between these two, is what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting either of these guys to come in and just start swinging for the fences. I do expect a lot of front kicks. I expect a lot of side kicks, swinging stuff, a lot of flash from both these fighters, because they are both very entertaining strikers. But don't sleep on the jiu-jitsu, folks. Don't sleep on the wrestling that either of these fighters present, because I do think that whenever we're seeing each other or seeing them in that bad position, that's what they're going to rely on. That is the easiest path for both fighters to get the win right here. But I still think we're going to see Knockout City, Derek. Do you expect any jiu-jitsu out of this fight?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're in the camp of Caceres, that is an approach you definitely need to take. If you're not going to be walking him down, cutting off the cage, cornering him against the fence, and then trying to initiate clinches, back takes, stuff like that, then you can't stay out of range against Giga. You can't let Giga get on the front foot because that's when he's the most dangerous. So I think it's a very specific path to victory for Alex Caceres, and I'm going to be completely transparent just as you were. I've been wrestling over this one, and I looked at Caceres and I said, is he the perfect upset candidate on this card? And the more that I thought about it, the more that I figured I was overthinking it. The reason why is because what is the one factor that Alex Caceres is missing to be able to put on the performance that like a Calvin Kattar did? And I would have to say he's not that great of a boxer, pure boxer, right? He can put his strikes together, but a lot of his game comes from his kicks. And if you're at kicking range against Giga Chikadze, I like Giga. I think Giga's kicks are superior in my opinion. What is your feedback on that?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Derek. Does Alex Caceres have the straight boxing to get up on the inside and nullify a lot of those kicks that Giga's going to be throwing? Not necessarily, but the nice thing we get to see here, man, is the Giga style, the Giga kicks, man, whether it's like Dutch kickboxing, whatever his actual practice is, against the traditional karate style that Alex Caceres brings to the table. This is going to be a fun one because you're right. Those styles right there kind of clash, don't really have that firefight mentality. So that's why I think this one's going to be a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Intriguing, if you will. You know, we're going to see a lot of different looks out of Alex Caceres, especially if he's having to fight off the back foot. Now, going on to that, Derek, who do you think takes over the front foot, takes dominance, and really starts controlling this? Because I think it's going to be Giga, to be completely honest. Mm-hmm. But at the same point, the counter striking of Caceres is absolutely crisp. Do you see that being a problem?
Yeah, of course. I think Caceres is going to do better when he throws punches and bunches. Giga is always a one or two shots at a time. That's just kind of classic style because he's kind of got a karate style too, if you really think about it. Like Giga's style of throwing, everything is rooted and it's a blitz. Everything is a blitz, right? Caceres is a little more flow. Let me ask you this, man, because I know I didn't answer your question very well, but I do think that that's the best way that I can kind of go about it, man. Giga, I think he's going to try to be on the front foot. I think it's going to be clear, especially with the ego of him saying, oh, yeah, Calvin Kattar, I beat him 9 out of 10 times, but he just kind of got me that night. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, that was rough. This is the point here. I like Giga Chikadze in this fight. I know that you like Alex Caceres in this fight, so we have opposing picks. My question to you is, why do you think that Giga Chikadze has been considered a hype train since the loss to Calvin Kattar, who is legitimately one of those upper echelon guys, man? Does that go to show just how good Giga actually is and what people expect out of him?
I think it does, Derek. I think it speaks a lot of level, especially for the last couple guys he beat, you know, Edson Barbosa, Cub Swanson. Those names hold a lot of value for a lot of people. And I think that hype train right there is kind of what's drawing the media to him, especially with the long break. You know, after the Calvin Kattar loss, he took a little more than a year break, like 6-7 months, whatever the math is. Folks, this ain't a math podcast, but either way, he took a little bit of a break. And whenever you're left wanting more of something you've had that was a good time, people start clamoring, man. Everyone's asking these questions. Where did Giga go? All of that. And I do think that leads into the idea of this, that Giga's really the next big up and comer. But don't sleep on Caceres, folks. This dude has been putting the work in since day one. I mean, just looking at the notes, man, 2018 over here. This guy has been doing it a lot longer than that as well. So Caceres has the potential to be the same star. I just think a lot more eyes are on Giga right now. And, you know, just again, transparency. This is a very close fight, folks. This one can go a multitude of ways. I've been up for hours trying to think of this one, but the nice part is we got to watch a lot of really good fights for this one. Try saying that 10 times fast. It was a hard one. Derek, what do you think?
I think that, listen, man, I like Giga Chikadze minus 225 cash on, baby. Let's go. We take advantage of the narratives. We take advantage of the perception. And even though, as I already alluded to, I do think Caceres is a very good upset candidate, good's not great. And I like Giga Chikadze right here. AJ, anything else? Are you ready to move on?
Woo, brother, to give me Alex Caceres, and honestly, man, I got to go with the decision. I don't see it's the best route. I think we're going to, when I'm putting money on this, I'm probably going to pick the money line. But if I had to pick a prop, give me the decision.
Fair enough. All right. Let's keep it pushing to some interesting prospects that we got right here. A very interesting prospect, Rinya Nakamura versus Fernie Garcia. Now, here's the thing, man. Both of these guys have a lot of hype on them. Two different career trajectories. Nakamura is new to MMA, relatively. He's the hybrid for a reason. This dude is an Olympic-level wrestler who decided, I'm just going to take people's heads off, and people are going to look at me as a striker, even though I'll submit you, I'll take you down, or I'll knock you out. Fernie Garcia interesting character right here, man. This dude came into the UFC with a ton of hype, dropped his last 2 fights, man, but I don't think that that's going to be the story of his career. I do think that I see a little Damon Blackshear-esque trajectory where you have a slow slumping start and then you kind of find your rhythm and find your groove. Now, this is the thing, AJ, once again. I found Fernie Garcia when I was watching tape. I was like, man, this guy, he might be able to just do it. You have to be careful when you're watching these Japanese prospects come in because there's not a lot of tape to watch, so you get awed over the KO that he just had. But what about everything before that? And I think it's safe to say, man, Nakamura is good, bro. This guy is actually really, really good. Question is, that Olympic level wrestling, is that the difference maker in this matchup? Even if Garcia has a better boxing, more experience, better fundamentals, more composure, I think Nakamura's wrestling is that X factor that just takes it that extra step. What do you think?
I agree with you, Derek. I actually think Nakamura is the more well-rounded fighter. Arguably, Fernie Garcia, he has a little bit more dog in him, and that's arguably. We haven't really seen Nakamura be tested in that situation where he's able to do that. But if you just go look at Fernie Garcia's last 2 fights, he was controlled on the ground. He was dominated on the ground, but you got to give it to him because he was always finding his way back to at least some kind of mix him up. So that's why I say Fernie Garcia, he's a dog. But I think, man, just the power wrestling style that Nakamura presents, the pressure wrestling, as well as this dude packs bombs in his hands. He has everything going for him in this fight. It's 100% his fight to lose. And that's why I think there's going to be a lot of stress on this one. Whereas Fernie Garcia, yeah, he needs the dub. He needs to pick up a dub after dropping those last 2. But that's just more motivation. That's more fuel to the fire to actually come in and beat this prospect. And I agree with you, Derek. I think Fernie Garcia has a long career ahead of him. This dude's going to be in the UFC for a while. He just needs to get past these up-and-comers and really start to make his name for himself. Where do you think Fernie Garcia is going to find the most success in this fight?
The place that I see him finding the most success is going to be in the transitions for the takedowns for Nakamura if he tries to clinch him up. He has a really uncanny knack for being able to secure an underhook in reverse position. So that's where I'm going to push back. You said in both of his fights he got dominated on the ground. I do not agree. Against Journey Newsome in the end of the fight when he gets rocked and taken down, all right, whatever, yeah, you get taken down. Every time, though, he was working back up to his feet. If he got down to his butt, he was right back up on the fence, breaking it back out to distance. Brady Highstand, that's a different story. That guy is just an animal when it comes down to grappling. And that's the thing. Is Nakamura going to take that approach? Because we don't always particularly see him go heavy wrestling. Sometimes, man, what have we seen? Wrestlers who got big pop in their shot fall in love with the hand and they want to knock you out. Nakamura has 5 first-round finishes, but the good news is a lot of submission victories right there as well. So, listen, man. I said a lot of submissions. I'll take that back. A lot of knockouts. 1 submission. Sorry about that. And that submission was a key lock submission. Yeah, lots of TKO stuff. I don't know, man. I like Fernie Garcia, and I think that the thing about it is he's like a thinking fighter to a degree, and I think that's the biggest problem, is I think that he overanalyzes the fight when he's in there, and because of that, both fighters have this same problem. It's just low output, man. Not a lot of output from either guy. Who's going to be the more volume striker here?
Fernie Garcia all day long, man. That's what I think. I do think he's going to come in and use that kind of catalyst, because you're right. He's had a slow start. He's lost his last 2. He needs to switch something up and really put it out. But you're right, man. Very analytical, very, very much a thinking fighter. And I do think Nakamura is going to come in at the start throwing heavy, man. Start throwing a lot. And then once Fernie Garcia gets a little respect, then I think Fernie's going to really take over the count. So at the beginning of the fight, Nakamura, at the end of the fight, I think Fernie will outscore him. That's if it doesn't end quick, though, Derek. If it ends quick, who do you think pulls it out?
Nakamura. If it ends quick, I think that he just steamrolls, right? One thing that I will make everybody aware of, something that I saw Nakamura kind of struggle with, man, especially in the one fight that he went to decision with, is he doesn't check calf kicks very well. So you got to keep in mind. You just got to definitely keep that in mind. I don't know if Fernie Garcia is going to be able to take advantage, but with Fortis MMA behind you, you're probably going to do some good stuff. Once again, I was like, man, I was so close to pulling the trigger on Fernie Garcia. I just think that wrestling will be too much. Give me Rinya Nakamura. I don't like that minus 135 TKO. I think you got to put a little more respect on Fernie Garcia. Stay away from the minus 700 money line. But AJ, what do you like better? Plus 275 submission or plus 400 decision?
Can I think Nakamura can submit Fernie Garcia? Yes, but I am actually going to go with the decision, brother, that plus 400. I'm banking on the dog that Fernie Garcia is to really drag this one out. Which one do you like more?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you with the plus 400. I think that Garcia is going to make him work for it for sure. So give us the decision. Give us Rinya Nakamura. Looking to go 2-0 in the UFC. Should be big. All right. Moving on down, how did we find ourselves here? Finally, Erin Blanchfield, ranked number 3 in the women's flyweight division against number 4 ranked Taila Santos. This is going to be an interesting fight, AJ, because this is the pinnacle right here. This is the new generation pinnacle that is up next, because we have Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso rematch coming up on the 16th of September. So this is either winner of this matchup gets next, depending on what happens. We might see a trilogy if Valentina, it depends. But this is an interesting matchup nonetheless. So what are the strengths of both fighters? Both fighters got solid jiu-jitsu. Taila Santos has got mallets for fist, thudding, clubbing shots that she likes to deliver. Great top control, good back control. And then Erin Blanchfield is coming together with her striking, much to be desired still, but her jiu-jitsu is just seemingly on another level. What is the difference in levels of these fighters? They're 3 and 4. Are they literally neck and neck, or do you see somebody just kind of edging the other one out? What do you think?
That's an interesting question, Derick, because well-roundedness or taking all of their skills into general, I'd give the slight edge to Taila Santos. I do think both fighters are very, very close right here, but I'd give the edge to Santos, man. She just has a little bit more crack in her shots. Not necessarily more technique. She just finds herself in those positions to actually hurt you. But the one thing, though, the one X factor I'd give to Erin Blanchfield right here, she finds herself in positions to submit you. And that's what she's best at. She finds ways to find the arm bars, man. She finds ways to find the Kimuras. She finds ways to benefit herself in the fight. And I think with the like power style, not necessarily power style, but more relentless attack that Taila Santos has been seen to have, that's when Erin Blanchfield's able to find those positions and take over. Do you see that kind of situation unfolding, Derick? Or are we in for a classic match, just a very technical style fight right here?
I think that we're going to get a mix-em up right here, man. This is the thing, is that on one hand, another fight that we find ourselves where I'm going back and forth being like, bro, either one of these people can win. Like, this is probably the closest fight on the entire card, honestly, right? And on Santos, I look at it like, okay, well, what happens if Blanchfield can't get a takedown? Do we like Santos striking? I think she has far superior striking, personally. But then again, I don't. And here's the reason why. Does it look prettier than Blanchfield striking? Yes. But Taila Santos striking is still very clubbing, very, it's not pure boxing. It's, I'm going to drop that right hand on you. Blanchfield, on the other hand, looks like Ben Askren striking almost, except it's more effective and it actually finds the mark. Here's the problem, though. Look at the last fight. You could look at a couple different fights, but look at the last fight against Andrade. Significant disadvantage in terms of stature. She got caught a lot, man. She ate a lot of shots. So on one hand, good chin. But what happens if Santos lands that patented right hand that just drops people, right? What happens? Do you think that she's going to sit there on her back and try to play jiu-jitsu? Because Taila Santos has fantastic top control. So what do you think?
Will she drop if Erin Blanchfield gets it dropped, will she try to play jiu-jitsu off her back? I think so. I don't really see her getting up. I do think Erin Blanchfield will feel more comfortable on the ground, at least to recover herself after that. But where I think her advantage lies is in that clubbing style or in that marauder style of fight that Taila Santos has. Because if she hurts her, let's say Taila Santos does hurt her. Erin Blanchfield drops down to the ground. Taila Santos comes in, crashes in on whatever she needs. Those moments, those eccentric moments that Taila Santos presents, those are the ones that Erin Blanchfield is best at, just taking that quick second advantage of and really turning the key. That's why I think this fight's so close, because at any minute, either fighter can take control, take advantage, and finish this fight. And even that, Derick, in the decision, because I think both fighters are going to be having moments the entire fight. Does this one make it all 3 rounds, or will we see a finish in a female fight?
That's a tough one, man. I think Blanchfield can get the finish if she can get the back, or if she can get just like a solidified position against Taila Santos, a dominant side control position, and just start working her transitions to like an actual finishing opportunity. I think she can definitely get the finish. I think Santos can finish her on the feet, so that's what's tough. I will say this is the part that's really intriguing to me, is that when it comes down to it, Taila Santos, even though she's big clubbing marauder style, she's not at the same time. She's very low volume, and the only people you see her really open up with are the people who don't pose a takedown threat. That's the problem. Blanchfield, I think, will be able to kind of freeze some of that offense and make her a little more tentative, the way that she fought Jillian Robertson or the way that she fought Valentina Shevchenko. There was very little output and it was looking for countering situations. So if you can remove the volume, you can rack up takedowns, you can do your ugly brawling style that's still effective and still finds the mark. That's why I'm going to lean Erin Blanchfield here. I don't think that people should discount Taila Santos whatsoever, but I also think people are really looking at, well, she arguably beat Valentina Shevchenko, so automatically throwing limelight on here. You cannot discount the momentum of an Erin Blanchfield. Right now, the thing on top of all the X's and O's, which we can go back and forth on all day, the only thing that's going to be the X factor on top of it, it just seems like her moment right now, man. It seems like she's on that rise to be exactly where she needs to be. She looks like the future. And then the last thing here, man, let's look at the discrepancies, right? 5'4" versus 5'6". Santos is taller and longer, but Blanchfield, you can't deny, she's stout. Right? It's weird, but she's thick, like strong, right?
Oh, 100%, Derick. And it's weird because off the top of my head, I would think Taila Santos has the strength advantage, but do not discount Erin Blanchfield because in those situations where she's better, Ben Askren striking, what it is, but she has the same kind of style of power on the ground that's able to actually get things done and find you in those weird positions. That's why this fight's so damn close, Derick. This one's going to be a good one. You look at Erin Blanchfield, 8-fight win streak, 3 finish streak going into this one. She has all the confidence in the world. It seems like she's about to just climb up to that upper echelon of the division. You have Taila Santos coming off a loss, maybe doubting her skills a little bit. Arguably won the fight against Valentina Shevchenko. I don't think so. That's why the air quotes are there, folks. But this one makes it super, super close because like Derick said, you can go back and forth on the X's and O's. Who knows who's actually going to pull it out besides those two girls on that fight night. Or fight day. It's going to be a fun one. Give me Taila Santos, and I'm actually going to take the decision, Derick. I don't think this one's going to be a finish, but I do think we're going to see both fighters in very precarious situations. What do you think?
Yeah, I like Erin Blanchfield here. Give me the minus 150 money line here. I'm probably going to stay away from the props. Just because it's going to be one of those fights. I'm counting on Blanchfield getting the win, and I think that's going to be fair and square right there. So opposing picks once again, but there you have it, folks. And moving on down to the opening bout, Junior Tafa versus Parker Porter, man. Interesting heavyweight clash right here. And AJ, I just got to kind of start this off by saying Junior Tafa has shown, especially in his last fight against Muhammad Usman, very talented, very, very wicked power in his striking, right? Lots of power, I guess I should say. But what's going to make this fight any different than that fight against Muhammad Usman? Like Parker Porter, more experienced. He got knocked out by Justin Tafa, the brother of Junior Tafa. But when it comes down to like true mixed martial arts, what's stopping him from just taking down Junior Tafa and doing literally the same thing that Muhammad Usman did?
The only thing, Derick, is the power in Junior Tafa's hands and maybe some kind of non-conscious thought that you look across the ring and you see the guy that just knocked you out 2 fights ago, but it ends up being his little brother. Now, maybe there's a little bit of that. I wouldn't bet any money on that one there, folks. That's wishful thinking over here. But the one thing that can stop him, man, uppercuts up the middle, and Junior Tafa has the speed to outwork Parker Porter on this one. We've seen Parker Porter struggle a little bit in the speed and the gas tank realm, but I don't think that's going to happen in this one, man. Parker Porter's been doing some really good work, and if he's able to get to a takedown, man, I see real struggle coming out of the the Junior Tafa camp, excuse me. Do you think Parker Porter is going to rely on his takedowns, on his wrestling, and on the weight of really having to hold down Junior? Or are we going to see the other side? What do you think?
If I'm looking across and I'm like, this dude's brother just knocked me out with this vicious power, that's probably genetics. Junior probably got just as much power, if not more. I'm taking him down. I'm not even risking standing in the pocket and trading. And when you saw him getting flatlined by Justin Tafa, what was it? It was him trying to be offensive. It was him trying to blitz in and land the big shot. It's just not the right move against these types of guys, man. So you play it safe. You be strategic. It's a heavyweight fight. Anything can happen. But smartly, that's not a word, wisely close the distance, right? Just so, educated manner of closing the distance for Parker Porter, secure a clinch, get a takedown, because the thing that gives me the most pause about Junior Tafa is that since the last time that he fought back in April, it's been like 4 months. You're not going to learn how to become a legit grappler in 4 months, right? He does not use his legs to try to get back up to his feet. He just kind of hangs out there. And if you're not going to move your legs, Parker Porter is a guy, does have some submission victories on his record. Nothing as of late, but I do see either a ground and pound type situation or a submission opportunity presenting itself. More realistic. I just think this is a super hard fought fight. Porter probably gets hurt a couple of times, but does just enough, just like Muhammad Usman, to kind of edge it out. That's how I see it. What do you think?
I could see it the same way, Derek. I definitely like the style that Parker Porter is going to bring to this fight, man. I imagine him to be more controlled, have the patience of that veteran fighter. But what I think is going to unfold right here, we're going to see Junior Tafa on the front foot. We're going to see him cutting off the cage, using his speed and his power in order to kind of distract Parker Porter going forward, land the big bombs, land the uppercuts, get Parker Porter in a dangerous situation, finish him by TKO.
What's interesting, man, is that could totally happen. We both keep saying Justin. Junior Tafa, younger brother, he's taller, right? This dude is a monster of a man, 6'3", right? However, shorter arms, man. Parker Porter got 3-inch reach advantage on Junior Tafa, so I'm hoping he can use that to help close that distance and whatnot. But in order to close the distance, you got to move forward. If you want to move forward, you might get knocked out. That is the game that we play here, folks, and that is the bout to open us up. So I like Parker Porter here. This is actually my prop lock of the night. I like that plus 40 decision victory for Parker Porter. I think that he's going to get overlooked. I think that this is a perfect upset play right here because Junior Tafa is exciting. He hits very hard and he looks like Justin Tafa, which is a fan favorite right here. Give me Parker Porter. I'm hoping that I can be the guy who does a victory lap and says, listen, that's why we don't listen to narratives. But once again, me and AJ are on opposite sides of the coin right here. So any last words to close this one out?
To quote the great Rick Ross, and another one. Is that Rick Ross? That's DJ Khaled. Sorry, DJ Khaled. To quote DJ Khaled, man, and another one that Derek and I are on the opposite sides of. I'm going Junior Tafa on this one. And like you said, if you caught it a little earlier, folks, I like the TKO prop. I'm expecting him to put Parker Porter on the ground, beat him up, end the night early, maybe go drink some brews with the brother. Either way, I like this fight. This one's going to be a fun one, folks.
That's right. All right, folks. And with that being said, that was your main card slate right there. We broke them all down. We gave you all the picks in the start. We just gave you the reasonings behind the picks now. So at this point, no excuse. Run to your local sports book, cash it in, drop a comment below once you've cashed and once you've won, and we'll keep the winnings coming. All right, AJ, now let's talk about our favorite segment of the show. And this is going to be when we highlight the unknowns of today, but the stars of tomorrow. We're talking about the sleeper section. AJ, let's get it.
It's time for some fight night.
And if you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
All right, my man. Once again, we had already mentioned this is an interesting card. Lots of underdeveloped talent to a degree, or I guess I should say underpromoted talent. Either way, we got some sleepers. That's really the point. And AJ, you got a very interesting sleeper, and I'm actually mad because I slacked really hard on submitting my sleeper. Literally, I put it in at the last second, and this is actually the bout that I wanted. So listen, I'm not going to make it a co-sleeper. AJ earned it. He got there first. Talk to the people. Who you got?
Just to speak on that, folks, I was surprised that Derek didn't take this one because this one is such a banger of a fight. And there's one word that goes for this one, man. Finishers. Both of these guys are finishers, man. Absolutely savages in the cage. You look at Yushaka Kinoshita, even if I mispronounce that, this guy has a bunch of finishes on his record, even though he lost his last fight. Yeah, he lost it by knockout, I'm pretty sure. Yep. But either way, this guy puts himself in the position to get the wins. And even if he doesn't, he puts himself in the position to have some dangerous-ass fights. And the same thing goes for the great Billy Goff, man. This guy, absolute finisher as well. A bunch of first-round finishes, KOs, submissions, whatever you want. This fight has it all, and you can see they're pretty split, at least more so than the Tapology community usually is. A lot of people are expecting a KO for this fight. That's why this is my sleeper, because finishes are on deck. It may be the fourth or fifth fight of the morning, but you need to tune into the sleeper section, folks. This is going to be an absolute banger. Tune in, don't blink, cash in. This one's going to be a fun one. Derek, what do you think?
I do think that's going to be a very fun one. Like I said, I wanted this to be my sleeper right here, and I'll tell you what, too. I even like a little Billy Goff edge right there. If you want to throw some money line on Billy Goff, I like that one. If I'm looking at the numbers right now, you want to look at what the odds are on that. Plus 115 Billy Goff. He's the underdog in this one. We might want to sprinkle a play. All right, folks, as I just mentioned to you, I slacked on my sleeper, so I'm going to cheat this week. Apologies, hate to do it, but I'm going to do it anyways. Folks, this might be a well-known commodity to the hardcores of the world, but I do imagine there's some of you guys who still don't know who these guys are. Chidi Bang Bang Njokuani versus Michael Oleksiejczuk, man. This dude, Michael Oleksiejczuk, is a savage boxer, finesser, Chidi Njokuani, Muay Thai specialist, long legs, long arms, crazy knockout power, coming off of 2 losses. And AJ, I imagine you you would probably think, oh, he finally gets a guy who's not going to wrestle him, right? No, sorry, that's not the case. Michael Oleksichuk, though he's a great boxer, the man can wrestle as well. He's coming off of that loss where he got wrestled, so I'm hoping both men do that Kevin Holland, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson thing where like you shake hands behind closed doors and be like, we're just going to scrap, no takedowns. First man to fall is a you-know-what. So, AJ, let's just say this, man. This is the thing that I wanted to highlight. When you're looking at Chidi and Jaquani, 80-inch reach, 6'3", 6 foot for Oleksichuk, 74-inch reach. Clearly, there's an intangible favorite, but the thing is here, if you do not see a knockout in this fight, it's because one man decided to wrestle, which automatically you lose. I'm sorry, you just lost the sleeper bout right there. You might get a win on in real life, but sleeper, you lose. I think that we have nothing but violence in store right here. What do you think, AJ?
Folks, I think this one's playground rules all day, man. First one to shoot is a you-know-what, but, man, this one, folks, you got to give Derick some credit. He holds himself accountable. He holds himself to a higher standard. This is not a cheat code at all. Yes, we know. The hardcores know these people, but the point of the sleeper section is to highlight the stars of tomorrow who are fighting today, and I know a lot of you don't know either of these fighters. Nonetheless, can probably even pronounce Oleksichuk, but this one is going to be the future stars of tomorrow. Tune in. Make sure you're cashing in. Like we said, hit us in the comment section whenever you do.
That's right. And now, we got some prelims that we can discuss. Now, I've spoken about this before. Normally, we do a full rundown. It's like, let's hit it like line by line, right? Like we're breaking down a finance sheet or something. Like, we're just going to hit on every single one. Instead, I want to look at the ones that I find to be interesting, that AJ finds to be interesting. And AJ, I think that this is what we need to do for this one. We have a lot of unknown commodities. So I just kind of want to showcase everything. And instead of talking about matchups, I actually want to talk about specific fighters and how meaningful these matchups are. So the first fighter that I want to talk about is actually this fighter right here. Liang Na. I know all the names are like kind of backwards or whatnot, so apologies if I butcher your guys' names. Bro, she is a stud, man. She is absolutely a stud. And here's the problem. You look at the last two fights, they haven't been that great. You got some submission victories, you got some knockouts, but when she came into the UFC, I remember, AJ, actually, do you remember? I think it was the first fight back with the crowd. And I think she was the first fight of the night. I'm pretty positive. Let me take a look. This was, against Ariane Carnelosi. Remember that? UFC 261, Usman versus Masvidal 2. We had the crowd. We had the pop. And it was like going crazy first fight of the night because we were all just like, oh my God, thank you for letting me outside of my house. Like, I appreciate it. So when we see she went from that, lost, whatever the case may be, I think. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, sorry, folks. Someone correct me in the comment. Tell me, let me know, right? But the point is, she came in with some real promise. You drop two. We talk about this all the time. Your back is against the wall, especially when you're an unknown commodity. Nobody really knows who she is like that. What is she bringing to the table, in your opinion, into this matchup?
Ooh, submissions, Derick, a submission specialist. When Liang Na is able to be in her element, be comfortable, throwing things out, she is an absolute machine on the ground. I mean, you just go back and look at her three previous fights before jumping in the UFC, all arm bars, all round one. You go and look, man, a bunch of submissions on this girl's record. She's absolutely dangerous. That's why I like her in this fight. Not saying I'm betting against her, man. JJ Aldridge is an absolute dog as well, but this one's going to be interesting. I can see a finish happening here.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one for sure. Now, breaking down another fight right here that I think is very intriguing. What is it going to take for my man to get back to where he needed to be? Sting Choi, man. Seungwoo Choi. He gets Jarno Aarons, which is not going to be a particularly easy matchup whatsoever, but I do think that this is a very winnable fight for him, given that his last three have come against, let's see, Bruce Leroy. We were just talking about him, Josh Kulabau, and then Mike Trizano, man. All of those fun fights. What does he have to do to get back into the win column here?
Woo, use that right hand like he was before all of those fights, Derick. I think Sting Woo Choi needs to fall in love with himself again. And I know that's a weird sentence to say, especially for guys fighting in their underwear, but he needs to realize, get back down to the grassroots, man. Get back down to who he was and have that little bit of air of confidence that he had when he was walking into the cage for the first time. Now he's on that loss streak, man, but this dude is still a very dangerous fighter, very precise striker, and in a winnable fight. Yeah, is the fight going to be very hard against Jarno? Yes, 100%. But I think Sting Woo Choi has the ability to get it done. What do you think?
Yeah, man. I think that you know what he needs to do to win? He needs to go back to Sting. That's what we need, man. Confidence in the big power shot and just keep placing it in the right spot, man. Avoid takedowns, do your thing, and I think that he should be able to get a victory right here. 30 years old, man. This dude is young and hasn't even hit the prime. 3-fight losing skid, but I think we're right back where we need to be here in the very near future. Let's see what else do we got right here, man. We have the return of Song Kanan. Don't really want to talk too much about that one. Garrett Armfield. Waldo Cortes-Acosta versus Lucas Bresky. That's actually going to be a really fun one. But AJ, to be completely real with you, even though I would like to spend a ton of time just sitting here and saying, hey, man, let's break down all the unknowns. That's going to be for a different time and a different place. We have broken down all the major fights that you need to watch out. We've given you the sleepers, the most important fights that you need to check out on the prelims. And I think the only thing that's left to do at this point is to head on over to the outro and prepare ourselves a goodbye. We're not there yet, AJ. We have a couple of links right here down below. You had mentioned we're doing our thing. You want an inside look, you need to go holler at my man AJ on YouTube. You're already on YouTube if you're watching this, so you just make a quick transition over to our channel page, and his YouTube channel is actually already linked there. But if you want to go to it, youtube.com/@SantaFeBomber. AJ, real quick, what are some goals for the rest of the year, man? We're a goal-oriented program right here, and we like numbers. 651 subscribers is the current count as of this recording, right? Now, we want to put up some numbers on the Santa Fe Bomber channel. We want growth in personal life, business life development, and everything in between. But if you had to have one goal channel-wise for any of your creative endeavors, what's that goal coming up for the rest of the year?
Ooh, numbers goal for the creative ventures I'm always taking, Derek. I'm looking for 300 subscribers by the end of the year, folks. I know it's a big number. I only got like 10 over there now, something like that. But either way, man, I like to shoot for the stars. I know over here we're looking for 1,000 by the end of the year. That's still my goal. That's still my mentality. I like that 10x thinking. Let's try to get me 300 over there on the Santa Fe Bomber channel. A lot of stuff that I'm doing out there, man. You get an inside look, gaming, art, whatever it is, fight breaks down, jump on the live stream so that way we can chat. That's one of the most fun things I have doing over there, folks, is chatting with you fine folks. It's a good time. Come join us. Press subscribe on the button. But since you're already here anyways, folks, man, Derek's giving it to you. Like he said, man, picks, props, breakdowns, whatever you need. There's only one thing I need you to do, and it's make sure you're sharing that with your friends so that way we can all win some money. Derek, you got anything else for him?
You know what, man? All I can say is that if you really are a fan favorite of this program, or I guess, you like this program, you're here. Obviously, you like it, right? Just do me a favor. Try to remember where you found out about the program, and then show a little bit of love. If somebody told you about it, go tell somebody else. If you found it on Twitter, shout us out on Twitter. If you're on Instagram, whatever the case may be. But this is a grassroots program. I can't talk very well here today, but you can do one thing, and I can do it too, and that's click subscribe. That's all we care about, folks. All right, that's it for us. Until next time, we will catch you on the post show. UFC Singapore, it's going to be a banger. All right, peace, folks.